back, everybody, to the World Championship Series. This is the Premier League, and we're getting closer and closer to finding out players that will represent their country at the season finals. But first, we have to sadly eliminate one of the players today from Group G. And it's going to be a Protoss player who has to skedaddle out of here. But which one is it going to be? Here's a quick look at the bracket. We have Snoot and Laser Zerg vs Zerg for the winners match, which is just around the corner. But now it is going to be the six-time Premier League player Jim going up against the newcomer Hitman, who hit the stage pretty hard today, Pig.
Yeah, I mean, he came out swinging, showed us a special build, and, you know, he got that win. And then he kind of went for the ultimate mind games, didn't he? And kind of just was like, I'm going to try and break my opponent's mind and do this again. And I haven't actually seen too much of Hitman's PvP, so I do have a little bit of trouble figuring out exactly what he'll do in this next match, but no doubt there'll be a Hitman twist on it, right? He's going to come in here with some special tricks prepared.
I saw some of it a long time ago, and it was crazy. He was like Has level of crazy, like proxy Stargates.
Really?
Like Kyle Harris is going to need to keep himself composed here.
But as crazy as Hitman could be, so can Jim. I mean, Jim has been known for being a super crazy aggressive player. Is that something that we can see in Protoss versus Protoss from him today as well?
I think definitely. The thing is, I'm really not sure how much information Jim has on Hitman. Nobody has too much information, so I can only believe that he, like being the player that is, you know, and playing from a different region, it's probably pretty hard to find even any kind of VOD of Hitman. He's probably not going to know much. Does he try from there to still play streaky PvP style, or does he try to play a little bit more solid defensive to try and defend whatever is being thrown at him? I guess we'll find out.
We have to find out, because sadly for Hitman, he's been able to win, Jim, he's been able to win a game in Premier League yet, and neither is Hitman, funny enough. He's won his challenger matches. Both players together have won their challenger matches, but that's it today.
Yeah, you know, these players have a long road ahead of them, and both of them have to be focused on that. Hitman here, you know, he's coming into this, and he did take a map in that first set, but a laser just kind of found the weak points in him and ripped him apart. So he has to stay composed here. He's really got to just keep his calm. Remember, this is just a great opportunity for him to kind of have some fun and show what he's got. So I think his mental composure, first time playing at WCS, plays a big part.
What are we expecting? Fireworks, crazy builds, proxy Stargates, DTs, the entire book of Protoss builds is going to come out in this one, right? I mean,
I think there's a pretty good chance, yeah, we're going to see something like that, and I feel like the level of aggressiveness is probably even going to be turned up a notch by Hitman than Jim, I would say.
Yeah?
Yeah.
From
what we saw in their first series, it was, I guess, a little bit more so from Hitman.
Getting me all jiggly and wiggly ready for this series here, Todd, talking about how aggressive it's going to be. Let's take a look at the maps then. So the three maps, the aggressive maps, hopefully, that we can get out of them. Come on, please, God, have some four-player maps in here. Terraform, Iron Fortress, and Cactus Valley.
What?
And already, that's making me even more excited looking at the latter two maps.
Well, Iron Fortress and Cactus Valley, big four-player maps. I guarantee we're going to see some proxied Stargate Oracles, some proxy DTs, at least one of those in these maps. Like, I've seen Jim play proxy Oracle versus proxy Oracle on Cactus before. Like, there's going to be craziness.
But Hitman chose Terraform as the first one. I mean, can we even read much into that? The maps that were left, he's like, you know, well, we'll play this one first. Is that just kind of saving things for later, or what has he chosen this map for?
He probably has like a pretty good build or a pretty good idea of a build he wants to go into on a map like this, where it's, I think, one of the maps that you play more on in terms of ladder, because you are going to have a few vetoes in there. Usually, if you're Protoss, it's not always the easiest time on some of those maps. And personally, Terraform is like one of my more played maps. It's probably the same thing for him, and he's probably narrowed down one single build order in his head already that he wants to go into.
And that's going to be really important, I think, if Hitman, if he gets his first win and then goes to two maps where he's going to be absolutely berserk, or at least we're expecting him to be, that's a good position, but more so an important one for Jim not to let loose in this first game.
Yeah, I mean, he's got to keep it under control. And we were previously talking about, I mean, going back to the first map, Terraform, how, like, you know, it's a great defensive late-game macro map. I don't think we're going to get to that point here. It's going to be wild craziness. And I think if you think about it, two-player map, Proxygate is always an option from either of these players. So I think, you know, knowing Jim's style, you think, like, maybe you should play it a bit more conservative, pull out one of your Phoenix styles, which he loves in PvP. That way you get the scouting information and so on. But at the same time, I don't know, sometimes Jim just goes in there and says, I'm going to try and knock you over before you knock me over. So he might just go out aggression flailing.
So far, so good with all the predictions today. I'm going to have to pick your brains for this one. It's not as easy as others, perhaps. Which way are we going?
I think Jim definitely wins 2-1.
for the sake of disagreeing with Pig, I'm going to say it. No, actually, I think there's...
He's like, I could do that, but no.
There is a good chance that Jim he makes the mistake of treating Hitman as a regular player who's not going to be super wild and cheesy. And I think that's what's going to cost him the series, Apollo.
Oh, there we go. Thank you very much, gentlemen. It's time to head to the commentary team for this one. You may have missed my equal English friend has switched to a French one. I wonder where he's gone. Colaris.
I think I found him for you. He's over here with me. It's Bling going to be casting some StarCraft here for me. And going into Jim versus Hitman. Did you expect them to come out as wildly in this past two series as they did?
Kind of, I guess, from Jim especially, but from Hitman, like we said before, we didn't really know how he was going to play, and he did live up to that cheesy reputation, so I'm not too surprised to see these players here. I did feel like Snoot and Alazer were the better players in those matchups, but I guess we're getting into the game now, and we're going to have to wait and see how it plays out.
All right, well, I've got to ask you before we get in, who are you predicting, Bling? We've got to get your prediction as well.
I guess I'm going to go with Jim 2-1.
All right, Jim 2-1, and already, oh my God. All right, let's get these introductions done as we are spawning up to the top left-hand corner, representing Invictus Gaming. It is Jim. Let's see what he's going to be doing. He's already sent a probe over. No, expecting no less, really. And down to the bottom right-hand corner, we have our red Protoss. Of course, it is Hitman.
And with these two players, like we said before, they're very, very aggressive. So it's kind of like fighting fire with fire. And as we can see, Jim not holding back at all. He's going for that proxy gate. Because the pylon is in that position, it looks like he's only going to be placing one gateway down. So it's going to be a bit of an aggression, but it's not going to be a fully committed 2-gate, for instance, and he will be able to transition out of it.
Ah, well, okay. Already, you're right on the money there. The probe's going to head on back. That gateway will go down. Of course, Hitman's is going to be a little bit later. He's going to start scouting 4 proxies in his main base, but how far will he go? That is a location that people do often check, though, right?
Yeah, there are a couple of locations, and that is definitely one of the more common ones. But as we can see from Hitman, only checking his natural. So he's going to miss this one. But at the same time, because he's missed it, that doesn't necessarily mean that the game's over or that he's going to take a huge amount of damage. Because as we can see, the gateway is kind of, it's a long way away from his main base. So it's going to take a while for the Zealots to get there. And he might be able to get up an adequate defense in time.
All right, well, Hitman, at the moment, oblivious to what is currently going on. His gateway is about to finish, and then Jim behind this with his gas already coming in. So what's the plan here for Jim? With the one gateway alone, just have a Zealot Stalker eventually come out after another Zealot? How do you orchestrate this kind of proxy?
Well, there's a few ways that you can do this build. That's either get the 2 Zealots and then go and try and pick off a few probes here and there, or wait for the 3rd one, and it's got a bit more of a punch, and you wait for that Stalker to follow up, and then you're kind of banking on that doing a lot more damage than the just 2 Zealot build. So it seems like he's just going to go for the 2 Zealot build, which is a bit more safe in my opinion, and you kind of get a bit more guaranteed damage as it hits earlier, and it's just a little bit easier to transition out of.
And well, here in the severity of this, Chrono boosting out his own Zealot, and actually that gets surrounded instantly, gets himself 1 probe. The Zealot's going to skirt on out of there. 2nd Zealot enters the fray, but already 2nd Zealot as well as Mothership Core being Chrono boosted into. And how much does the Mothership Core really kind of change the tide of this if that's able to get out properly?
The Mothership Core is actually quite a crucial unit in this kind of defense, because if he does send it straight across the map, then that means Jim's just got no aggression possibilities at all, because he needs to defend that, else he's just going to lose his entire mineral line. So the fact that he's got that Mothership Core out, it kind of gives him a few possibilities in how he wants to use it, I guess. But as we can see, he's going to send it across the map, and he's going to do what we was talking about. Actually, he's just keeping it there, so playing it a bit more safe. But Jim, on the other hand, I don't feel like he's done enough damage. He did lose, Hitman did, in fact. He lost a bit of mining time, but I don't feel like it was enough to really justify Jim's attack.
So he's actually thrown down 3 gateways behind this is Jim as well. So looks like he's just going to continue on the pressure from here. He's even been scouted. If you're Hitman in this position and you know that this 4-gate is about to hit you, what do you do as Hitman here?
Just make sure you keep that Mothership Core alive. If you've got that Mothership Core, you've got a Photon Overcharge. And if you've got a Photon Overcharge, you're going to buy so much time. And as you can see, he's going to defend this attack with only just losing 1 Zealot, but he's keeping that Mothership Core alive, which is good. He doesn't want to be too aggressive here and push out too much, because as you can see, taking a few shots on that Mothership Core. So he needs to kind of pull back and just play it a little bit more safe, in my opinion.
Quite the commitment here, though, already for Jim. The Mothership Core will essentially escape out, and a sentry is here, so that can buy time before any of these units try and even walk up. One of them does, and it will take a lot of damage there. No way you're going to kill that Zealot off before that Stalker dies. Likewise, he almost lost that other Stalker. The probe comes in for extra damage. Oh no, and this is kind of spiraling out of control here for Jim.
Yeah, really nice to pick off those 2 Stalkers there, but as we can see, Warpgate has finished and warping in those 4 Stalkers. He has got that 1 force field, which is going to buy him a little bit of time, but it seems like Jim's really going for the aggression now.
Yeah.
Hitman definitely needs to keep good control on that Mothership Core, though.
Yeah, needs to make sure that that stays alive. At the moment, another sentry comes out, throws down a force field here, trying to get more gateways out, and a Stargate. So that's his follow-up to try and shut this down. With 4 sentries there, he has a great opportunity. He picks off the probe, and they now do not have high ground vision. Jim is in a very, very odd spot, but how on earth did he manage to get those shots off there briefly?
Yeah, and I feel like maybe the Stargate's a little bit too keen. I feel like he should make sure that he's definitely defended this attack, and as we can see, he's finally forced out the photon overcharge, so eventually that will run out, but what does Hitman really have as an army? He's got 3 sentries, 3 zealots, and he is currently boosting out that Void Ray, which will be a very good addition to his army and help him defending those Stalkers. But ultimately, I feel like if Jim just keeps warping in, he's going to have a much bigger army.
He poked forwards, he saw what was warping in there from that Stargate, now knows that that is going to be quite crucial here. Getting this pylon wouldn't be too bad at all. He actually underpowers 2 of those gateways. Force fields go down, trying to lock those Stalkers in. Probes are going to come off the line as well, with that photon overcharge is doing damage. He knows that if he can kill off the majority of this force, he is going to have quite the strong follow-up to it.
Yeah, Jim just getting a little bit too aggressive there and a bit too keen. And as we can see, Hitman just completely annihilating Jim's army. And I feel like the whole power of Jim's build is completely gone now.
Focusing down even the weakened Stalkers here with the Void Ray. Being able to push Jim on back. Jim is actually going for his own Stargate himself. But by the time he gets that, an Oracle is going to be finished and over the other side of the map.
Yeah, Jim's not in a great position. I feel like this is more of a desperation move. He is warping in 2 Stalkers, in fact, into his mineral line to eventually defend against that. I don't know what he's going to use that Stargate for, because when the initial Oracle from Hitman does enter Jim's base, he's going to see that Stargate. So maybe he's going to use it for Phoenixes. I'm not too sure. That could be a good addition. But yeah, Jim's definitely in a dire position right now.
Well, trying to get out of this position, as we do have still Jim posing a threat towards that ramp. These 2 Stalkers could feasibly shut down this Oracle eventually, but he will take losses off of this. He will take probe losses. The Oracle's going to be able to get away and then come back and fight another day, as at the front he has to be very, very careful to keep the rest of his army alive.
Yeah, Hitman kind of winning on both ends here, and that Oracle did stay alive, still pushing back this army, and again, he might actually lose that Void Ray. Okay, so he does keep it alive, but like I said before, he did keep that Oracle alive. But one thing to note as well, he didn't actually scout Jim's Stargate, and Jim is actually going for a Phoenix, so he's just going to play the safe route and pick off that Oracle eventually, but no actual defense in Jim's mineral line. He's going to take a few more losses here.
Getting some probes once again. The Phoenix will eventually come along to shut this down. That's when the Oracle just goes into suicide mode, gets as much as it can, and in total, 25 workers against 17 at the moment, with 10 kills. So, and the Nexus is down much, much earlier. Surely all Jim can do at this point is try for some very aggressive move himself, but it looks like he's just breaking down the rocks and might go for an expansion. This is...
Yeah, I feel like Jim probably knows against 2 Void Rays and that Sentry and Zealot count, he's never going to break him. So if he did have any chance in this game, it's going to be playing a macro game. But as we can see from Hitman, he's going for a macro game himself. So Hitman's just ahead in every way right now.
Yeah, that is definitely true. And he's moving into an assault position himself. So maybe it would have been wise for Jim to have a few more units out, even from the Stargate, from anything here at this point. Because the 2 Void Rays are really going to pack a punch. What is his army standing at the moment? Only 5 Stalkers against a 3rd Void Ray that will be over there eventually as well. Oop, a little bit of an overextension though with the Void Rays alone. They will charge up, they'll turn around onto those Stalkers, and I'm not sure I was going to be able to shut this down, as the 2nd Void Ray, well, one of them did die off. Those Void Rays just need to be on the sentries, Stalkers even. Once they bring those down, it'd be fantastic, but they're going to go for the Phoenix first. That force field seals all of these units in. That's GG. Hitman will take game number 1 after a fast and furious one there.
Yeah, Fast and Furious, I guess, kind of as everyone expected, and they definitely delivered. Jim, I really wasn't expecting that. I was probably expecting that more from Hitman to open up with that kind of build. But yeah, as we can see, Jim not holding back, and it didn't really pay off for him that game.
Bit of a tough spot there to be in for Jim, as now he's 1 game away from elimination here in the World Championship Series. Going up against someone like Hitman. I mean, both of these players, do you anticipate them even knowing too much about each other in their play styles?
Well, after the series that Jim played against Snoot, I don't feel like he'd done too much research. So against a player like Hitman, where no one can really do any research, I don't feel like they're really playing against the player. They're just playing against the matchup. They're playing PvP. That's all they're doing right now.
Yeah.
And Jim staying true to himself. Hitman, yeah, it seemed like he was actually going for more of a conservative build. He didn't seem like he was wanting to be too aggressive, but obviously that was because he initially saw those 2 early zealots, extra early zealots, in fact, from Jim. So maybe that did make him change his kind of decision or what he wanted to do in that game. So I guess we'll have to see on Iron Fortress, where this map is actually usually a little bit more random than Terraform because of that 4-player spawn position.
Are there other things that you can see, like, for example, in these aggressive styles, like proxy stargates? Can they come into play on this map, or is it more trying towards a macro focus here?
So many things are possible on this map. There's proxy stargates, proxy DTs, early gateway rushes. Obviously, there's not going to be a proxy 1 gate like we just saw because of the spawn positions. But yeah, anything's kind of possible on this map. Stargate is kind of more common, if not. I've played against Stargate a lot on this map. I've done Stargate a lot on this map. So it's definitely more of the go-to builds in my opinion, but yeah, literally anything is possible.
All right, well, we're getting into it. Game number 2 here. Iron Fortress, as Jim 1 game away from being sent home, as he needs to try and represent China as strongly as possible here in this group, but so far we've had a bit of a hard time. Down to the bottom right, it is our blue Protoss, representing Invictus Gaming. It is Jim. Got it all to work for now. 1 more game stands between him and elimination. And spawning up to the top right-hand corner, we have our red Protoss. It is Hitman.
So as we can see, vertical spawn positions. So I guess if 1 player was to open up Stargate, or both players were to open up Stargate, it would actually kind of give the edge to Hitman, because he can kind of go over to the natural a little bit sooner, and if they do go for that natural expansion kind of builds or whatever, he will be in that advantage to hit that a little bit sooner than Jim on the other hand. But it kind of just depends how they want to play it out, because 1 base play is very common on this map. It's really hard to abuse this big frontal area. You can't really force field it off too easy. So I feel like they're definitely going to play aggressive on this map for sure.
All right, well, let's see if Jim can continue to ramp it up with the amount of aggression that he put on there in that previous game. One would suspect that he might try something similar. Of course, how behind, in inverted commas, did Jim's initial proxy gate, without doing too much damage, leave him there against someone like Hitman? Did it leave him severely behind, or was there certainly opportunity for him for gate to do something?
He was a little bit behind. It wasn't game ending. Like he didn't do enough damage, but he didn't put himself in too much of a deficit. I think the main thing is because he chose to follow it up with a 4-gate. 4-gate's a pretty all-in build. It's been around since the start of StarCraft. It's been around forever. So everyone knows that build is an extremely all-in build, and the fact that he chose to do that after a failed aggression, yeah, he really wasn't in a good spot.
Does it speak volumes as well about Jim's playstyle as a whole? He's just, I mean, it wasn't quite as aggressive as Hitman's all Zealots 2 Immortals against Zerg, but still, you know, maybe it speaks volumes about how he looks at this matchup at the moment, something like that.
Maybe it's just the way he looks at StarCraft.
Maybe.
He lives up to his name. He lives up to his reputation. He's kind of known as an aggressive, cheesy player, and he's living up to that. It doesn't seem like he cares too much what people think. And in China, the majority of players are Zerg and Protoss players. In this group, it's Zerg and Protoss. And now he's going up against the Protoss player. he plays Protoss players all the time, and he's winning these Chinese tournaments. So obviously, his style is working. So whether or not it works against foreigners and Hitman himself, it's yet to be told. But obviously, he is down one game.
Well, right now, almost mirrored builds completely here for both of these, as we will see Hitman just finishing up his second gateway back at home as well. So, and there will be Stargate option here for Jim in the back of his mineral line. Certainly has an opportunity here to go for a Oracle if he wants it, and then try and wiggle his way around. It really depends on where Hitman's Stalkers and Mothership Core are positioned.
Yeah, and as we can see from Jim, he's actually going to scout with his Mothership Core, and it's a little bit early to send it in, because if he does send it in now, he's not going to be able to recall, and those 2 Stalkers there that just got constructed from Hitman could pick it off, but they're actually going to be a bit out of position. They are coming back just in time, but Jim's going to get a perfect scout off, and all he's going to scout is 3 gates. He might be able to pick off a probe here.
How much energy is that Mothership Core Axe? It doesn't look like it's at 100 just yet.
No, it's at 95,
okay.
Nearly there, so he might be able to get the recall off in time.
Yeah. Should be able to, considering now. Has 100 energy, and woof, that was much closer for comfort than I really expected it to be there for Jim.
Yeah, and an Oracle coming out for Jim. I'm not sure how I feel about this, because he did only scout 3 gateways, and he saw the chrono boost going down on Hitman's cybernetics core, so he knows that he's going to have aggression coming in his way, and he doesn't have that photon overcharge from his Mothership Core because he was scouting with it. So a Void Ray, in my opinion, would be better. It would be safer. It would allow him to defend it a bit easier. But as we can see, Hitman already pushing into the main base of Jim here.
This could be quite deadly at the moment. He actually cancels that building. I'm not quite sure what it was, as we're going to go into this now with a lot of Stalkers here at the moment. They already go onto probes there. And he already has a Stalker advantage. Quite the clear Stalker advantage there. Probes get pulled off. He gets the Mothership Core, and that's not going to be banking up energy at all. He's going to try and trade off against this. Still, he does have this advantage. The probes are still there to try and battle against it. But it's so many Stalkers here for Hitman. The Oracle over the other side has to do huge damage if it's even there.
Yeah, and it's not going to be able to because of that photon overcharge. And there we go. It's got 2 kills, but he's not really paying attention to it. And now it's going to nearly die. He does manage to keep it alive, but he's dying at home.
Yeah, more Stalkers going to be warped in. Wants to really save that 1 Stalker. Doesn't manage to, though. But still, 7 Stalkers against 3. More probes going to die off. Another Stalker is going to fall here for Hitman, but he keeps trading. He keeps doing very well with this. And every time this goes down, Jim is losing more and more economy, and he's going to underpower one of these gates.
Yeah, he's only going to have 2 gateways powered now. He's down to 15 workers against 22 of Hitman, and Hitman actually picking off that second. And if he gets that, it's going to be lights out for Jim.
Oh no, he can't really do anything. That last Stalker, even Micro 2 kill off that pylon. He has no way to warp in any more units. Jim, this is a disaster of a WCS round of 32 for him, as Hitman is going to be able to take the victory. GG. He takes it 2-0, and he moves on to the Deciders match here in the group. Well played out by Hitman.
Yeah, well played out by Hitman indeed. And Jim, I don't know what it was, but he did scout what was coming, but he didn't react to it. And it's a little bit confusing why. Maybe he's a little bit flustered. Maybe he felt too much pressure on himself. Maybe it was because he lost that first series, a little bit shaken up. I don't know. But it's sad to see.
Tough group to come into, I think, for a few of these players, with the kind of volatility that some players throw out there. I mean, Jim being one of them included in the end, could have gone either way, and in the end, Hitman being able to take that victory. Fantastic stuff from him. That's the first victory that he's ever had in Premier League. It's got to mean something.
That's probably his first tournament win ever, isn't it? I don't know. No one's really seen him. But yeah, no, definitely he's going to be very happy about that. He's came over here kind of unknown. No one knows too much about him. And now that he's able to defeat Jim, a player who's been around forever, a very kind of well-respected player at that. So the fact he was able to beat him 2-0, he's got to be feeling confident going into the Deciders match. Yeah,
he'll be going up against either Elaser or Snoot, of course, in that Deciders match, which will be our next series. But for now, let's head over to the analysis desk with the boys.
Thank you very much, Kalaris. Joined here with Johan and also Hitman. Congratulations on your victory, your first victory in Premier League. And you've taken out Jim.
Yeah, it's not a surprise to me, actually. I think I'm a better player than Jim. My game plan was just to go and...
It's true, man. Say it as it is.
My game plan was to go into it playing Blink, and I knew he was going to cheese me. So I think Blink is good versus all-ins, so I think as long as I hold his all-ins, you know, I could beat him in a straight-up game.
I wonder, in map number 1, he went for the proxy. As soon as you saw that, like you consider yourself a pretty cheesy player, so I'm sure you got a lot of experience doing that proxy yourself. Were you immediately confident you were going to be able to hold?
I thought he was going to proxy me in the first game, so I built a Zealot and didn't cancel it because right when I saw a Zealot, I knew it was a proxy. And obviously I play that build a lot, so I know exactly how it plays out. So I actually didn't play too well. I got supply blocked on 25 supply, which I think you noticed. Couldn't build my Stalker, so that put a damper on things, but I still was able to pull it out.
How was it for you traveling over here? I mean, this is the first time you've played in anything like this ever before.
Yeah,
no one even knew what you looked like coming into this. Was it a little bit nerve-wracking traveling this far and, you know, playing in front of an audience and on stage?
Yeah, kind of. The audience wasn't as big as I thought it would be, but it's still kind of nerve-wracking. Obviously, it's my first time. But I don't think it affected my game too bad. Yeah, I played all right.
You look good. I have to ask these questions. I don't know if anybody at home noticed, or maybe some of you in the audience noticed. First of all, you don't have a mouse pad. What's that about?
I just don't play with a mouse pad.
He's got a mouse just on the table.
I used to play, like, until like 2 weeks ago, I played with like the standard like Microsoft mouse, you know, like the white one with like the gray like scroll wheel. Like,
got the ball inside still.
Yeah, I played like on a laptop until like 5 months ago. Like, I just got new gear.
And you have a wireless keyboard.
Is there anything wrong with that?
You got a wireless keyboard. Is it reliable? Does it work for you?
Works fine.
All the time? No, yeah. Never cutouts, nothing?
It's been perfect.
Wow, didn't you just watch the series?
I know, I did. I'm very
the future,
surprised.
Apollo.
It's the future. Just no mouse pad and a wireless keyboard. I don't know if anyone picked that up, but that's remarkable. Let's look forward then. Decider match. You're playing for a position in Poland. It's obviously going to be a very, very big match. You've played a Laser once today. Who would you rather play? Would you like to play him again, or would you prefer Snoot? And how comfortable are you with either choice?
It's about the same either way. Zerg's pretty strong. I'm not too good against Zerg, but hopefully I'll have some all-ins prepared for whoever comes out on top.
You said that you thought you were a better player than Jim. Those are like some very strong words, I think. I wonder actually, where do you rate yourself in the StarCraft scene, in the foreign scene, or even like going into this group? Did you think you were going to be the favorites?
Early to mid game, I think I'm pretty solid. I play Blink a lot, so I'm pretty confident in my Blink play. But if they're able to survive and take no damage up until the late game, that's when I kind of start to fall apart. But I just don't let my games go that far.
Are you the best American player?
I wouldn't go so far as to say I'm the best player, but I definitely rank among the top 3, 5, I don't know.
3 or 5?
Yeah.
3 or 5, which one? Choose. I'm going to put you on the spot. You can't
3.
say 1, 3. Top 3, okay, there you go. Everyone, Hitman, ladies and gentlemen, he moves forward to play in the Decider match, which is just around the corner. We're going to go to a quick break, and when we return, we are going to have the Zergs go head-to-head in Snoot versus a Laser.